Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Our topic for today is about evaluating and making judgments. The objective of this lesson is to establish a sense of objectivity in evaluating a picture, text, or performance using a set of criteria. Before we discuss that, let us look at this painting. This was created by Vincent van Gogh around June 1889, or more than 130 years ago. This is considered as one of the most famous paintings all over the world. Now, how do we evaluate this painting before we can give a careful opinion about this work? How do we evaluate the message of this painting? How do we make a careful opinion or judgment about it? Guide questions are really helpful in evaluating this painting. Let us try to go deeper and answer some questions. Question number 1. What specific features of painting are manifested? The Starry Night by the Dutch artist Vincent van Gogh manifests features of a starry night which has the night sky, the moon and the stars, the village, and the cypress tree. So these elements are really features of a starry night. Question number 2. What do you think is the painter's inspiration in his masterpiece? Van Gogh's inspiration for this painting may be his own depiction of what he sees in his environment at night. Usually, our creations are based on what we experience or observe. In the case of Van Gogh, that is how he probably depicts Starry Night in his plays. Question 3. What message is portrayed by the painting? The contoured forms in the painting, like the swirls of strong winds and dark trees, convey emotions. The darkness of the village may represent problems or loneliness, but the illumination from the bright starry night sky could mean that there is hope and that life is still beautiful even in the darkest moments. Question 4. What positive points are manifested in the painting? Some positive points in the painting, for my opinion, is the use of contrasting colors like bright yellow and dark blue, which really depict night effects. Question 5. How can the painter still improve this painting? There is nothing to improve because it is already a masterpiece. The Starry Night Sky is one of the world's most famous paintings and has become an icon because of Van Gogh's unique style. What we did with Van Gogh's painting is an example of evaluating and making judgment. Now let us understand the meaning of evaluating and making judgment. Evaluate means to judge or calculate the quality, importance, amount, or value of something. It means thinking carefully before making any decision, comment, or judgment about a certain thing. Next is judge. Judge means to form, give, or have as an opinion, or to decide about something or someone, especially after thinking carefully. Making judgment means the opinion formed after thinking carefully. So remember, when we evaluate, we calculate the quality, the importance, and when we make judgment, this is the opinion we give after thinking carefully. Here are the 6 common indicators in evaluating a text. First, content. Content is the idea, concept, focus, or details of the reading text. This tells you about what the reading text is all about. Next, cohesion. It is the organization of words, phrases, ideas, and concepts presented in the text. It deals with the smooth flow of ideas. Grammar. It talks about the fluency and accuracy of language structure, such as correct tense of the verb, composition of clauses, phrases, and words. Mechanics deals with the accuracy in punctuations and capitalizations. Are the sentences correctly punctuated and words are capitalized if necessary? Word choice. This is the appropriateness of words in terms of depth and level of formality. The choice of words. Is it easy to understand or not? Are the words formal or informal? The last one is tone. It talks about the emotions or feelings as expressed by the text. Or this is about the author's attitude towards the subject or content. Tones can be powerful, tragic, selfish, comforting, and affectionate, among others. So here are the 6 common indicators or the criteria we can use in evaluating and making judgment. Here is another example of how to evaluate a text and make judgment about it. But this time, we are using the famous poem of Maya Angelou entitled, Still I Rise. Let me read it for you. Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may tread me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with a certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my ties? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that wondrously clear, I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. I have here guide questions to help us understand the poem. It is very important to understand the content before making any comment about it. So question 1. Why do you think the poet used so much repetition? As you can see, Still I Rise has been mentioned many times in the poem. Why do you think so? Question 2. How does this poem relate to the struggles of African Americans in the past and present? 3. What is the theme of this poem? And number 4. How does this poem make you feel? Let us try to answer these questions in the next slide. So here are the possible answers to the questions mentioned earlier. So why do you think the poet used so much repetition? The author often repeats "Still I rise" to emphasize that nothing can get her down. She will rise regardless of her color or status in life. Second, how does this poem relate to the struggles of African Americans in the past and present? It represents the struggles encountered of African Americans such as oppression, inequality, and slavery, which are still relevant up to today. What is the theme of this poem? The theme is self-respect and confidence. How does this poem make you feel? This poem empowers me and make me also confident to face any prejudice and injustice that I may encounter. So, now that we have understood the poem, it is now time for us to make judgment about it using the criteria mentioned earlier. Remember, to make an objective comment, we have to make sure that our judgment is based on evidences and careful thinking. Let us first discuss the content. This is my observation. The poem clearly and effectively presents the concept of anti-Black racism, citing examples of how Black people encounter oppression, inequality, and slavery. Example line from the poem, "I am the dream and hope of the slave." This line supports the concept about slavery. Next is cohesion. The flow of ideas are organized, and it is evident in the use of transitional words such as but, because, still, just like, and that, helping readers to form connections and interpretations. Example line, "You may tread me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise." So it shows cause and effect. So it is easy for the readers to understand the relationship of ideas. Grammar. The verses use correct present and future tenses and accurate grammatical structures of simple, compound, and complex sentences. Example lines, "Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave." So, this is an example of a combination of independent, which is "I am the dream and the hope of the slave." This is an independent clause. And the dependent clause is "bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave." So, basically, the poem uses different simple, compound, and complex sentences. Next is mechanics. The poem uses punctuation such as question marks and periods correctly, while capitalizations are accurate. As you can see in the poem, there are so many questions like, "Does my sassiness upset you? Did you want to see me broken? Does my haughtiness offend you?" So these are all questions, and they were answered in a sentence also, using period. Word choice. The author used simple vocabulary, easily understood by people of all ages. As you can see, most of the words are very basic, meaning they can be easily understood. So this poem is intended for readers of all ages. Tone. The tone of the poem is determined and confident. Uh, you will notice that for every part of the poem, there is the word "I'll rise." So it shows determination and confidence. In whatever problems or trials that the author may face, uh, the determination and the confidence will always be there. So as you can see, this is how we can judge a reading text or a poem using this criteria. Remember, when making evaluation, make sure to understand and analyze the content before making any comment or judgment. This prevents us from making any biased opinion and ensuring the objectivity or fairness of our judgment, because it is based from evidences and careful thinking. That would be all. Thank you very much. I hope you understood the lesson today. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you so much.